The Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, has just made an amazing revelation regarding Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. TLDR, money is about to start flowing in. He uses GameStop and the Wall Street Bets shenanigans to articulate his point. If you're interested in making money in cryptocurrency and you want to stay up to date on a daily basis, subscribe to the channel right now. Let's watch this clip from the Flagrant 2 podcast, and we will discuss the significance. Listen closely.
When I first saw Bitcoin, I thought the technology was great. It was awesome. When I saw it run up to 17,000, 20,000, I was like, get out, it's going to crash. And I was almost right onto the day when I thought it was going to crash. I thought once it crashed, it would disappear and end and never come back. But it didn't. I was wrong about that. So I was right for the timing, but I thought it would just vanish, and it didn't. Why? Because enough people believed in it. Now, the difference between Bitcoin and GameStop is so huge and this is the mistake people are making. If you're trying to think that one relates to the other, it doesn't. There is a finite amount of Bitcoin that is out there and that can be created, and there are very complex, understandable models of how you create them, and it creates scarcity. There is literally no amount of GameStop that could not theoretically be issued. It's an endless supply of shares that can be printed, created. So it is not a finite situation. What Bitcoin was able to do, you truly have hit on one thing. It was simply supply and demand. If we think it's valuable, it's valuable. However, in GameStop, there's another reality involved here, that if the stock stays high for too long, the company will start selling shares into the market to raise. It won't stay up. You can keep creating more shares. It's not Bitcoin. So that's why analysts are out there that have do training and research and fundamentals, because they look at there are certain rules of the game, because it's all about supply and demand. If you have companies that just can create and print more shares, well, guess what? You're back to 1929 when, or even earlier when they screwed over Cornelius Vanderbilt, when they just started dumping shares, and you've probably seen this in how The Men That Made America, this story, how they screwed over Cornelius Vanderbilt, but it's printing shares of some railroad he had, and they cost the guy like $500 million back when $500 million meant something. But the point is, you could just keep creating shares of stock. So you need to be very, very careful when it comes to applying that same philosophy of it's just supply and demand. One has an endless supply.
Yes.
One is a finite supply.
Yes. And I'm sure somebody out there is like, well, yeah, there's all new different types of coins that pop up, and those coins can be competitive with Bitcoin, and maybe they can drive the cost of coin down because there is more supply, right? That you could make an argument for all this. All I'm trying to say is that I think people are starting to wrap their heads around this idea that, like, a sneaker is popular because we decide it is, or my girl likes a purse. That purse isn't worth anything. It's worth $30, but because Dior says it's worth $5,000, then that's the price. But we dictate that, not Christian Dior, not the app. What?
Remember one thing though.
Go.
The things that end up holding their value have limited numbers of them. This is a very important point.
Right.
There are two things that you need. There are two things that drive the market. I'm an expert in stock manipulation. I am. I know more about it than probably anyone on the planet. I'm not proud of that, but it's just true. And there are two sides to a stock manipulation, okay? Number one is you must create demand. Demand. What most people don't focus on is also the artificial withholding of supply. Why do diamonds have their value? The reason diamonds have value is because the De Beers withholds supply. They take supply off the market. If they were to actually flood the market with supply, diamond prices would crash. Okay? So it's not just about what you can create in demand. It's also how much supply is out there, and can that supply be increased?
So, the Wolf of Wall Street gets it, and he's helping to teach people so that they get it. Do they get it, though? Are people starting to understand Bitcoin and starting to understand the implication of absolute scarcity? Andrew, Akash, Do you hear what the wolf is saying?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And for whatever reason, these coins have used some sort of like sophisticated technology to make sure that there is a limited supply of these coins, right?
Yeah, you can't make more Bitcoin.
But you can, right? Can't you mine for them? Isn't there like a...
Yeah, but you mine you mine for gold. You don't make gold. You mine for gold, find the gold, and that's it.
Right.
So number one, there's a finite amount of Bitcoin that could ever be created, somewhere between 21 and 23 million. I'm not sure exactly what it is. And what happens is the mathematics behind mining is as you create more Bitcoin and the price goes higher, the mathematical computations are so much more complex and more difficult. The amount of energy it takes and time it takes. It's an incredibly clever technology. And I'm just absolutely shocked that the United States did not. My big fear for Bitcoin, just so you know, was never that the technology was bad. I always loved blockchain technology. My fear was that it's so cool and so great. How could the government that is so against money laundering or any other form of currency they can control, how would they let this go on?
And yet, every year that Bitcoin sustains is another year that takes that risk of governments banning it off the table. In fact, the regulations that we've seen just in the past 2 years alone, in my opinion, these are huge green flags. Guys, it's more than just one kind of famous guy on one kind of popular podcast. The Bitcoin movement is getting much bigger than that. In fact, this cycle, we're seeing Bitcoin, Ethereum, Defi, and cryptocurrency in general continue to penetrate the mainstream. Watch a rather gaunt Mark Cuban explain DeFi, explain crypto, and why he's bullish on it because of everything we've seen with GameStop. Watch him explain this to Andrew Cuomo on CNN.
GameStop, what does it mean in terms of investing culture?
So there's two different things. In terms of investing culture, you know, all of Wall Street has had an advantage over the little guy. I mean, look, the little guy has been diminished in the eyes of every, traditional significant investor. They're called minnows. But now when they, aggregate and work together, even if it's with Wall Street bets, that creates a new set of circumstances. That doesn't mean that all their trades are going to be profitable. It doesn't mean that everybody's going to come out ahead. It doesn't mean there aren't going to be painful lessons. But if they can keep on aggregating, and particularly in this counterculture we have with cryptocurrency, where decentralized governance is a thing, and people spent the whole summer learning about it and decentralized finance, there's really something here. It's not going to take over tomorrow or 1 year or 5 years, but I think over the long term, it's going to have a significant impact and benefit the small investor.
And make sure that you like the video, either of these two videos, if you appreciate content like this. If I were you, I would send these videos to a friend to let them know, guys, massive amounts of money are about to pour into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. That's the facts, Jack. And let's take 60 seconds to thank our sponsor for today's video, BlockFi.com/altcoin daily. This is traditional financial services for cryptocurrency. If you have Bitcoin, if you have Ether, if you have Litecoin or stable coins just sitting around, why not get some of them in BlockFi and earn up to 8.6 APY with a BlockFi interest account? Get a $250 bonus if you use the link in the description and you deposit $25 or more. But generally speaking, no minimum is required to start earning interest. This is a company that I really like. I know we have many happy BlockFi users in the comments. Check it out, BlockFi.com. They are backed by some of the biggest names in the space: Coinbase, Galaxy, Winklevi, Morgan Creek. Get on your BlockFi game, BlockFi.com/altcoin daily. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. We're one of the fastest growing channels on YouTube for cryptocurrency. Many people get a lot of value in our videos. So I'll see you tomorrow, guys. It is turning into a great year.